ever being interested in it, because I didn't really like the Wii either. But then the Switch came, and well, the Switch is, you know, massive, massive success. Did it win the console wars, though? I don't know. PS4 is also a pretty big success. As a PC gamer, I don't really pay attention to this stuff. But what the hell was the Wii U? Honestly. New Pokemon games feel like a trash collector. I was, actually, because, you know, occasionally you just get in the mood to play something, like, mind-numbing and repetitive. It just fits, like, your mood at the moment. I actually got into Pokemon again. I was playing Pokemon Heart Gold, because I really liked, you know, like most people in my generation really liked Gold and Silver. And, I got up to, like, basically the final town, the Dragon Town, and I just lost all inspiration to train and level to defeat the gym leader, so I basically got to the end of the game and was like, meh. Which, oh well. I know I beat it before, so it's fine, but, yeah. Anyhow. Brand new series, another PvT, though. In the top right of Eternal Empire, we've got Drogo for team Raise Your Edge. In the bottom left, as the blue, or I don't even know why I said blue, as the green Terran, it is Wanderer for team Verklack. The player blue was asking stuff in the lobby, so maybe that's where I got blue from. Frisbees are awesome. I mean, I think Frisbees are fun, but I've never, what I said was the perfect experience for me. I just never got a Frisbee and was like, thank God. But I've gotten battery packs and been like, oh yeah, I'll definitely use this. Have I played disc golf? Maybe back at, like, PE. I honestly don't remember. I know what it is. I've played golf. I bought a Wii U, they burned me, so I refused to get a Switch. Okay, but, like, you have to give credit to how good and successful the Switch is. Like, as much as the Wii U is not worth your money. Wii U is the same generation as the PS4. So what is the Switch then? I mean, it's definitely not the PS5, Xbox 720. I mean, what even is the new Xbox? Is it the Xbox One? That's the new one, right? The one that doesn't make any sense? Or is it the one they just recently released? I don't remember. I was never an Xbox fan, hence me not playing Halo for 20 years. And finally getting around to it. Anyways. So, Wanderer just beats a pretty, you know, I was gonna say standard, but that's not necessarily the word I was looking for. But yeah, pretty standard Protoss. Now faces Drogo, who certainly can play standard, but is just a lot more consistent. We do expect him to qualify. He's actually kind of been on the cusp occasionally, once or twice, of being the best Protoss in Europe. Neither him nor Showtime have really gotten to prove it as far as, like, tournament results have gone for quite some time. It's just more of, like, who have they played and how do they play against the people that they played, right? So if they got 2-3'd by Cyril, that's actually still remarkable, right? But they never actually win anything. Yet both of them are, like, some of the best Protosses that Europe certainly has to offer. Drogo was probably, like, at one point or another kind of rumored to be even better, when Showtime was a little bit worse, but Showtime's definitely back on the best European Protoss. There's been times where Drogo's been worse and actually fallen down, like, a lot. Even DNS was kind of nipping at his heels. Not sure where he is right now, but I still have a lot of confidence in Drogo. I think his Twitter memes are fun, so maybe that gives me a little bit of bias. But I feel like he's doing well enough that I expect him to qualify in today's qualifier, actually. I do think he'll qualify today. But Wanderer had some things to say about TVP in our last series, and I guess he'll say some things here. He is going to go for, looks to be Banshee Tank. Now that is going to be very obvious to this Lucent Phoenix. Drogo also doing a similar opener to Space Marine with a faster sentry. Doesn't work out so well against early harassment, but there wasn't any early harassment, so it's all GG. So you get a quick scout, you get the knowledge. Robo was already produced. It was a 2-base Robo, so all 4 gases are taken. Now adding on Twilight Council Forge. And just preferring the way this opener works out as opposed to the faster Twilight Council and the faster Blink. Certainly will give him access to a decent number of observers, so these Banshees shouldn't really ever be a problem as far as detection goes. Thank you very much, C2, for the 300 bitty boos. Would you rather play golf or mini golf regularly? You know, believe it or not, I'd say regular golf. But keep in mind, I might just be missing the outdoors and sunshine and walking. But maybe not. I don't know. Mini golf is like... It's okay. Switches handheld so it falls outside of home console gens. I don't think that makes much sense. I mean, I know it's handheld, but the whole thing was that it was either or. I do think Nintendo has just simply gone out of sync. It just was like, we don't want to be part of these console wars if you guys are going to release our new consoles totally off schedule of your guys's, so no one will ever compare them. And that actually makes sense. I mean, Nintendo wasn't ever really... I mean, past, like... Hold on, what was the way of things? It was the N64, then GameCube, then Wii, wasn't it? Well, the GameCube actually just sucked as far as the console wars go, before anyone gets mad at me. And like the Wii, I mean, it was always just not really, like, it didn't hit any of the right markets, the same markets, sorry. Any of the same markets that the PS1, sorry, PlayStation or Xbox tried to. So it makes sense that it would be out of the console wars. And just as a concept, the console wars are a little bit silly. But anyways, there's something much more important to talk about. Drogo grabbed a 3rd Nexus, but is actually doing a very odd little attack here. Went very quickly up to High Templars, but not for Storm. Has not researched anything with the Twilight Council. Okay, got Charge, but not Blink. And is doing a +1 Charge Archon attack against a guy who's going mech. Now, this might be Drogo having played Wanderer once or twice, or just knowing his style for some reason or another, but an attack like this would look very odd, because it's not a 2-base all-in. If this was a 2-base all-in, well then sure, yeah, that happens, but this is not. So it's, certainly a big surprise for Wanderer, who's not preparing for this. He got some scouting, but I'm guessing he saw the 3rd Nexus and probes on it and was like, oh, I don't have to worry about being attacked. Drogo didn't really have to worry about the Banshees too much. They are now trying to do something, but aren't being controlled, so they're dying. Alongside all of these SCVs, the command center is barely going to live, only if it's being repaired. It is one little hero SCV trying to repair that up. Wanderer is going to be on 3 command centers, but Drogo's already on 3 Nexus, so this certainly did enough damage. If both of those Banshees were back at home, this could maybe be a different story. They probably helped clear this up a lot quicker, but a lot of SCVs still go down. It took a long time from the pull away from the main base, and the natural, he had to try and protect the natural by pulling SCVs there as well. So just, like, bottom line, SCVs are going to go down, unless Wanderer either denied the Warp Prism in the main base by knowing it was coming, wouldn't mind turret, Vikings, whatever, or had, like, a wall. Might have been another thing. Like, yeah, there's not really any way that I see Wanderer defending that too well. Doing the build he has chosen, the style he has chosen. Double Observer for double the protection. Warp Prism is available to produce more Stalkers. They do not have Blink. It's finally on the way, though. They won't be able to chase that particular set of Banshees. Drogo is setting up more gases, probably 4th base. I mean, he could just kill the guy, actually, which just seems even more so his plan. He's got 1/1 upgrades to absolutely nothing from Wanderer. And Wanderer is forced to just retreat back up to the high ground on the main base to try and defend this, which makes his natural a little bit weak. Tries to lock onto the Warp Prism, doesn't really work out. Cyclone even getting locked in there by the tank. It's not going to go down, not being focus fired, so it could try and shoo away the Warp Prism once again, but Wanderer is not even going to stay around for that. GG, Drogo bops the mech opener. Be bopped. GameCube still outsold Dreamcast. Well, no one ever talks about Dreamcast anymore. The Dreamcast was like, yeah, okay, kid. I guess you're still in the game. To Sega. And Sega was like, oh, it feels bad. Yeah, Dreamcast is alongside PS2. It's pretty easy to remember because the PS2 played DVDs and the Dreamcast didn't. One of the reasons that it did better. And the PS2 is also reverse compatible. Compatible to PS1 games. But the Dreamcast, I mean, wasn't, you know, you couldn't play Sega Genesis games on it. I did love the Dreamcast, though, to be clear. I had one. We, as a family, we stopped being on the Nintendo hype train after N64. The GameCube never appealed to anyone in my family, me or my brothers. I don't know why. Anywho. Pillows of Gold, top right, we have Drogo. Bottom left is Wanderer. Trying to go for some mech and getting hit by a 3-base attack was just not what he expected. The Banshees did not do a great job starting things off in his favor, which is usually what you're hoping will happen. They'll scout, they'll keep the Protoss at home, and they'll do some damage. They just didn't do that. Everything was scouted immediately, so Wanderer waited to pair up his Banshees, which is actually sometimes a good call. Usually a good call, really. But they didn't do anything. They weren't micro, Drogo was already prepared for them. They were probably best just being at home. But they really were supposed to get in there and do surprise damage, and that just wasn't possible what Drogo opened with. So, last time this happened, you know, Wanderer kind of opened up with something aggressive, perhaps to try and take advantage of inappropriate early game scouting, but also the Sentry coming out as the second unit. Doesn't help much when it's up against 6 Marines. But not this game. A little probe harassment, but it is a 1-rax expand. And Drogo will be going for... I think that was a Nexus after Gateway. You're the coolest? I don't know. There's some really cool people in the world. Maynard's pretty cool. Usain Bolt's pretty cool. People arguing about spaghetti on my Twitter. Reaper does go down. Did it scout the correct technology? It did, actually. Saw that it was a robo. Sweat dying is not too big of a deal. This is what Drogo started off with last game, so actually everything looks very similar to last game. Sentry second. Gas is going to come down eventually. I don't know if Drogo does the same 3-base attack, but could. Wanderer maybe doesn't go mech this game. Eternal Empire just has, you know, so much promise as a macro game. It's got those high ground 3 bases with chokes to work with, and 4th and 5th bases that really aren't too much of a leap to grab and protect, so it's one of the maps that certainly makes sense to try mech on. I don't know about Pillars of Gold. Pillars of Gold, just like we look at it, and the 3rd base doesn't look very convenient. If a 4th base isn't very convenient, that's fine as far as Legacy of the Void goes, right? Like, you can get enough units to protect it. When a 3rd base is inconvenient, that is just straight up inconvenient. That's just, you're not going to have a lot of units to protect your 3rd base. As well as your main, as you start talking about Warp Prisms and Medivacs, and I guess for Zerg, it'd be like their mutas, trying to pull you from left to right. Wanderer is going to go for his Armory opener again. Drogo could easily see this with Lucent Phoenix once he sends it out. He certainly has the energy. just holding off on it. SCV scouts the would-be third Nexus location. No, this would be the third base. There we go. But it's actually going to be this one. But he also has it sent over there to scout. 2 stalkers to intercept it, and that's an unfortunate scouts for Wanderer. I'm still waiting on Drogos. Did I miss it? Oh, he's just using his observer anyways. Okay, well. Blue State Phoenix would have been just a little bit faster, but the observer will do it as well. I don't think it wants to get stuck on the Widow Mines. It's not going to see the armory's already done. I mean, a factory still on a reactor is a little suspicious if you are really clued in to the current patch. Oh, he already knows about it, just kidding. Oh, he accidentally hallucinated a zealot? I don't know what sequence happened there. That's funny. Don't see that too often. But yeah, so he already knows those were not seen after they shot. Did you kill that many probes? Nope. And looks like the medevac went down. It did indeed. So not a very good trade whatsoever. These might be a little more dangerous though. These two not gonna get a whole lot, and these two, well, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit. They don't have drilling claws, so they don't speed burrow, which certainly was another aspect of the drilling claws opener that made it scary. This is just a cloak opener, if you will, for the Widow Mines. So it's really supposed to be a lot easier to deal with as far as not losing on a mass amount of probes. It's harder to deal with as far as sending the probes back to mining. Hopefully don't lose many probes, but they aren't mining very often. So it's still a bother, but this all has to not only make up for any economical differences that TVP might have, but it's also supposed to make up for any delay on Wanderer's production, which is a little bit tough. Wanderer has to do all this drop and harass potential. He needs to really be maximized, and he needs to have really perfect macro back at home. It's difficult to do. That's why Maru can do it, but not many other people can, not as plebs. I'm on par with the frisbee. Oh, thank you. That's not. It's not a compliment to me. And you guys are listing all these, like, I know super popular games for the Dreamcast, but they're just not the games that I was playing. I actually would need to go back and look up the names of the games that I was playing, because I've definitely forgotten them at this point. I mean, there was Sonic Adventures. I loved Sonic Adventures, and the Chow Babies. Yeah. Duh. Jet Set Radio was on Dreamcast. That was awesome. There was this fighting game called, like, Psychic 2020 or something like that. I forget. And that was pretty cool. You fought in a cube, and you flew around. One of the games I play on Dreamcast a lot. I actually have my Dreamcast and my Dreamcast games right behind me, but I would have to get up to look for it. There was like this game that like was mostly a co-op game, but you could play it single player, and you were like a cop that there's like 3 different missions, and one of the missions was on like a cruise ship, I remember, and you could like pick up all this stuff that was around each location, and you could throw it at the person. So you could pick up like a pepper shaker, and you could pepper shake the enemy, and they'd cough, giving an opportunity to strike. I forget what that was called. Taxi Driver was a Dreamcast game, wasn't it? No, actually, no, it was a PlayStation game. Just kidding. Just kidding. Although it might have also been on Dreamcast, I don't remember. Nostalgia. So far, been a lot of posturing in this game, a lot of denying of future Widow Mine drops. 2-1 is on the way for Drogo. 1-1 finishing up here for Wanderer as he scouts around for a push. Didn't have to worry about any blink stalk or aggression, so his back row was actually pretty good. Just a blip in the early or later 700 mineral count. Oh no! Woohoo! Drop on the main base was scouted by the observer right over Wanderer's army, but it's a little late to the blink, as good as the micro was, so it doesn't actually stop the drop. It's basically being cleaned up perfectly anyways, and that was not very worth it. Just really notable how many stalkers Drogo has, and that's a lot because he went straight into Colossus, not playing around with stalker charge lot at all. charge is actually only halfway done right now. So the army might be, you know, theoretically a little flimsy against like a Marauder Concave or Marauder Surround. It would take a hell of a lot of Marauders, which Wanderer no longer has after losing 3 medevacs worth of units to really do that. You still want to get to a decent amount of Marauders, and most importantly, get to those Vikings and play the old micro game around some of these pillars and cliffs and whatnot, take down the Colossus. And then the next problem is already here. Disruptors. How do you deal with that? Concaves, actually. That's how you deal with it. It also means being out on the map, being aggressive, which is just really difficult to do. I mean, after losing a drop like that especially, your instinct will be to just, like, turtle up and hold on to your little teddy bear for dear life. But while it does make sense, you have lost a good portion of your army and you are not in a great position, it's also going to make Disruptors a lot easier to kill you. Colossus too, actually, even if you have Vikings, because they're going to get a bunch of shots when you're all choked up. So it's an unfortunate circumstance here for Wanderer as Drogo gets set up for the attack. His upgrades have finished, so he has a bit of an upgrade lead for like 20 more seconds. I don't see a Warp Prism is the only thing that's holding this push back. But the Disruptors with the Colossus comboing here can actually hold position for quite some time. Wanderer would have to be very confident about pulling the trigger against that army. Drogo is actually not going to overstay his welcome, it looks like. Kind of pulls back, maybe not, maybe a little, okay, not so much. 4th base is on the way, but Wanderer, yeah, he knows the army's there. I mean, like, it's a little dangerous to do. There's going to be a bit of a 270 arc here, so Drogo does need to be a little careful, but he has so many splash units. First Disruptor doesn't get very much done. Upgrades are evened up once again. It's going to be it's going to be the attack. Vikings from the left side are actually doing a good job against the Vikings, but the Disruptors on the south side just took down most of the army. SCVs are pulled into this, and it still isn't enough as Drogo chooses an attack and makes it work. Archon's going to take care of the SCVs, no problem. Even the Stalker's taking care of the rest of the units, and Wanderer, well, it really started with the drop in the main base not going so hot. GG, good luck. Drogo 2-0s. Our Terran hopeful. And moves on to face,